Good morning, all. How are you? It is very cold here. Well, relatively speaking, it feels cold. At the beginning of the winter, temperatures in the 30s and upper 20s seem really, really cold. But in February and March, those temperatures seem balmy. We haven't hit the deepest part of the winter yet, so I guess when you're comparing it, it always turns out that way. So it feels cold here today, a little bit more wintry. We haven't had significant snowfall yet, at least here where I live. South of where I live, they get more snowfall. And I saw a bunch of people driving in today with snow on the hood of their car, on the top of their car. They had snow, but we really haven't gotten very much. So we're still kind of waiting for that wintry white Christmas feeling. So we'll see if we're going to have a white or a green Christmas this year. I myself enjoy a good white Christmas personally. And I also really enjoy a white January very much. Around February, I think we're all ready for spring, but we have time before then. So, what's going on today? So, I thought today we would talk about Advent, just pre Christmas type of stuff, busyness, and how we're trying to combat the busyness, gift shopping, and prayer schedules for Advent, and things like that. I thought about talking about dance because I've got a dance thing coming up. That's kind of exciting, but I think I'll save that for next week. So that's what we're gonna do for this tea time and next week as well. So fun stuff, right? So all right. So what have I been up to in terms of all of that? So as is usually the case, whenever a special liturgical season comes around, so Advent, Lent, Advent's a little bit shorter, so that helps a little bit. Because you have less time to mess it up, I guess. Um, and so 2 weeks in, how am I doing? Well, average. Isn't that the story of my life? So, I have not been 100% with keeping up with the Advent devotionals that I set aside, but I keep the one, Goodness and Light. I'm going to put that in the show notes because I was trying to compile those before we started, and I never remember. So, and it's called what, Readings for Christmas and Readings for Advent and Christmas. I keep that one by my bed, on my bedside table. And so I have been reading that every night. I haven't been keeping up as good with the other ones, but we endeavor to do our best. So, yeah, I like Goodness and Light. Some of the story, they're all written by different people. So there's not consistency with length or tone or anything like that, which is okay. Some of the stories I like better than others. There was one recently, a couple of days ago, that was 20 pages, and I didn't even attempt it. There was no way I could stay awake that long. Usually they're 3 or 4 pages, so that's not too bad. But last night I thought the title of the story said Advent in Paris or something like that. I thought it was going to be this uplifting story of winter travel, and it was actually it wasn't Paris, it was Peru, which is not to say Peru isn't a beautiful place, but the story was about a less uplifting topic because it was about a woman working in a just a more challenging situation, and with yeah, I just don't even want to go into it because it was depressing, and it was tough, and so I was like, oh, that's not what I was needing after my day yesterday. I had this day yesterday that was just unexpectedly long and kind of stressful, and I didn't expect that coming off of all of my grading being done and all of the angels are singing because this terrible semester is finally over. But I forgot that I had a Catholic Mom deadline today. And so I was panicking a little bit in the middle of the day yesterday. And so I was getting all of that done, and I had a couple other work related things to do. And then I wanted to go to the Vigil Mass for the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. And Advent is really lovely, isn't it? For feasts. We just had the Feast of St. Nicholas on Tuesday. Lovely with the children. And we have Our Lady of Guadalupe coming up and St. Lucy. And we have the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. And I enjoy this winter season of having more holy days because I enjoy going to Mass on holy days. It's a nice opportunity to take time during the work week to go to Mass. I know it's not easy for everybody. So depending, I work a job where I'm finished by 4 o'clock every day, and that's not the case for everyone. So I know for some people it is very difficult to get to Mass, and so holy days can be stressful for them. I don't have that situation, lucky in that way, and so I was looking forward to going to the vigil mass, but it was a little bit of a rushy rush, and so the vigil was at 5, and of course it's so easy to say, well, I'll just go tomorrow morning, or I'll go to the evening mass on the holy day itself, which is at 7. But I knew that I would be tired for both of those situations. So I went last night at 5, but I had to rush and I had to stop at the post office. Is there anything worse than stopping at the post office in December? Maybe going to the DMV any day of the year. But it is what it is, right? You get there and there's just people everywhere. Somebody's got a box. Every time I go to the post office, and I'm there a lot more now because of my Sudsy business, I'm mailing wax to people. When I mailed something to one of my friends recently who has an APO, she's in Japan, her husband is stationed in Japan right now, so they have an APO. And I had to fill out a customs form and all that. And the woman is looking at my sheet and she's like, "What are you sending? Wax?" Like, what are you doing with that wax? I'm like, yes, it's wax. So I'm at the post office a lot more now, and every time I go, there's somebody there that has a box that you could fit 12 dogs in, or maybe a human body. I mean, just gigantic. And it's on the scale, and it's inevitably addressed to someplace internationally. And so it's a form related process, and there's lots of clicking, clacking on the keyboard, and there's lots of questions and all. And so I was there for a little while waiting to send out a few gifts yesterday, and I was there longer than I wanted to be, and so therefore I got home just in time to grab Anne and get to the vigil mass. The kids are going to mass at school today, so really Anne didn't have to go. Henry didn't come with me because I knew he'd be going to mass today, but I just wanted company, and she's young enough that she still sees that as like girl time for us to go together alone. So we went to mass together, and it was really lovely. But I was tired, and I got home and I just felt all out of sorts. My day was just rushier than I wanted, and I felt kind of cranky. I was working on a crochet project that's giving me a really difficult time, and I'm wanting to finish it by Christmas, and so I was getting all stressed out about that. I need to watch some more YouTube videos, so I had to put it down because sometimes that's the way it is with crafting. When you're tired and you've had a glass of wine because you had a busy day, that's not the best time to be fighting with your craft project because you're never going to win that battle, not in that condition. So I ended up going to bed early. But back to Advent. So that was just a day in the Advent life of your Catholic librarian. Yes, the beautiful holy days in the midst of Advent. So everything is just going along. I even, when I have a busy day like yesterday, Advent just has that special sort of an overtone to it that I really love. It's a special time of year. I love seeing all of the lights up, decorating the outside. It makes everything feel so festive and bright. And it does just instill that feeling that I want from Advent of peace and tranquility, even when a person is cranky, right? Because Advent does have that sense to me that even if I'm having, not the best day in the world, I still just feel special because it's a special time of year. So I've been enjoying that very, very much. And so I've been enjoying also our Anticipating Advent series. We have had 2 weeks of that together, and I'm hoping that you all are enjoying that as well, where I have the prompt, and you're welcome to also write in your own response or just read along, whatever you prefer. And what I've been using for that is this Living with Christ prayer journal. And they put one of these out every year, apparently. This is the first year that I've gotten one. And I didn't realize when I first set my sights on this guy that it was a weekly journal. And because every time I've tried to do a journal in the past, it's daily. So I was like, well, it's weekly, it's for Sundays. And actually, there are entries for, like there was one for the Immaculate Conception. If you're watching the video, you can see. So I'm thinking there are the other holy days of obligation in here as well. but generally speaking, it's on Sundays. And so it gives you like a little reflection and then people and prayers to remember this day. I like that. So what I've been doing is that every week when I open this, the people that just come into my mind, I write their names down. I like that. It keeps things fresh in terms of my prayer list. And sometimes I remember things that, I had kind of deep down. Like, oh, right. That person asked me to pray for them, and it's working out lovely. It's got those scripture verses listed here, and you could write a little something if you wanted to next to each of those, because it doesn't have the scripture verses fully laid out in here. But the prompt is called Responding to the Word. It will tie into the gospel. And so for the Immaculate Conception, it says, Mary's yes to God profoundly changes her life and the course of human history. In what area in my life is God inviting me to surrender to him? So that's what I've been using on the blog to have our little anticipating joy posts. And it has really allowed me to become more thoughtful in my journaling. I'm not good at keeping up. And so I do, as it turns out, like that this is a weekly journal because it makes it much more realistic that I won't fall off the wagon. So I'm happy about that. And I've been, so far so good. We're 2 weeks in. So there's the prompt, and then there's a bunch of space where you can write right in here, and then a final thoughts, a couple of lines there for final thoughts. And so then the next entry after that is the third Sunday of Advent, etc. And I like this guy. So the retail price is $8.95. This is inexpensive, and I think on Amazon it might even be like $1 cheaper. So I'll put the link in the notes. But I'm really enjoying this, and it is for the entire liturgical year, so you can still pick it up even though we've already started. We're only a couple weeks in, so you'll still get plenty of use out of this. So this has been bringing a lot of happiness to my Advent, and it's been helping to keep me feeling, I guess, grounded, and I'm just really shooting for that tranquility, trying to eschew the busyness as much as possible. And I would say on the whole, it's going pretty well. I've been doing lots of online shopping, trying to get my gifts finished. And that's a little stressful every year. Even with, real jobs and all that, it is a tough budget time of the year, when you've got, just your regular expenses, and you also have gifts that you'd like to get. And so I've been trying to really do it over time. But as it gets closer to the actual holiday, there's always, I try to space it out amongst different pay periods. But then it gets closer and I get stressed out about it. So thank God for Amazon Prime. That's all I can say with the 2-day shipping, because then I don't stress about it getting here. So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to comparison shop and look for little sales and such. So put in a book order with Barnes & Noble yesterday, some things for Mike and the kids and my father-in-law. And I'm getting Anne her own kids bird guide. I'm so excited, even though I still miss our birds because we can't have our feeder. I'm still so upset about this. I'm going to look into whether we can have it in the winter. I don't know, do rats hibernate in the winter? That's probably too much to hope for. Because in the winter, they'll be even more desperate for food. So I can't, but I'm thinking with all this snow, would they seek out, because the seed would dry, I don't know. But I'm going to do a little research. And we get dark-eyed juncos that will come in the wintertime and come to our feeder. Because when I had a feeder years and years ago, I saw them. And the cardinals stay all year round too. I want them. I want them in my yard. So we'll see. It might not be. We live in an urban area, and bird feeders are really not a good fit for that. But we'll see what we can do because we love our friends the birds. But I got Anne this backyard bird guide for kids. I'm really excited about that. Got Henry a book he asked for. Got Mike a Pittsburgh Steelers book that he wanted. So lots of good stuff. Mike is from Pittsburgh originally, so he's a Steelers fan. What else did I do? Yes, I placed another order for some Legos. I found less expensive somewhere else, and a couple of other things I found less expensive. Something for Mike, something for Henry. So we're getting there, and I've got a cart full at Amazon. I'm waiting for my Sensi Pay check to come, which should be this weekend, and then I'm going to be able to get a bunch of that stuff, most of that stuff, and that's other things for the kids, things for my nephews. I need to pop in some things for my brothers-in-law. Haven't done that yet, but I've finished everything for my mom and my mother-in-law and my sisters and my friends. But I still have a couple more packages to mail, and so, it's like one thing at a time. What I had to mail yesterday was Christina's birthday gift. Happy birthday, Christina, whose birthday is next week. And my friend Irina, who's going out of town next week. So I wanted to make sure that those got there. So I've got one more post office trip for December 25th. So doing what I can, it's just busy, but trying to enjoy it. I really, really just I was thinking this to myself recently. We're hosting Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because our house is large enough to fit our immediate and a little bit of extended family. And so I tend to stress out when I host. I could post a link to my tornadoing post. I'm going to make a note. Tornadoing post. I tend to be a nervous Nelly about hosting and never sitting down and relaxing and enjoying and just being up and around and frittering to and fro about putting things out and taking things out of the oven and pouring drinks. And I mean, sure, you need to do that to be a good host, but I really could relax more and still enjoy myself. So I was saying to myself recently that, because I talk to myself in my own head quite a bit, that I want to really enjoy Christmas this year. I'm going to enjoy it. We have our family. My grandmother is 90, and I hope and pray and am optimistic that she will be with us still for many years to come. But it is one of those things that you realize that everything isn't going to stay the same forever. And so I want to just enjoy this. Anne is still young enough that she really is into Christmas and all of the magic and all that. And my family is all healthy and well, and I just want to enjoy every moment. How many in any one given life, how many Christmases do you have? Even if you live a long life, there's only so many. And I don't ever want to take it for granted. I was thinking that recently too when I took Anne to see the Nutcracker, same thing. I have a Nutcracker book, nonfiction book about the history of the Nutcracker that I always pull out this time of year, and I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes too. Nutcracker book. And one of the things that the author mentions is there, and I think that she heard someone say once was, well, when you finish another Nutcracker, another Nutcracker closer to the end. There's only so many that you're ever going to experience when things come around once a year, and I just want to enjoy every moment. This year, Henry will be serving at our parish as an altar server at the 11 a.m. Mass on Christmas Day. Really excited about that. So it's going to be very special. It's going to be very special. So that is what is going on with me right now. I would love to hear what's going on with you. How are your Christmas preparations going? How is your Advent going? Let's chat. So write in. I will be with you again next week. I've got lots of dance planning stuff that I'm working on for my event after Christmas. I'll tell you all about that coming up, and maybe I'll post some crafty stuff next week, so some really fun things. And I'll also try to get back into my other writing projects, so you may be hearing more about that coming up. So I will share all the details as they become available, but please let me hear from you in the meantime. I will look forward to that. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye. I will see you soon. Later.